Have you ever looked at someone at the absolute top of their game and just wondered, how? How do they get that almost magical command over what they do? Well, today we're going to demystify that entire path to greatness, and we're using Robert Greene's incredible book, Mastery, as our guide. So let's just start with a huge one. How did Leonardo da Vinci become, well, Leonardo da Vinci? We tend to think of people like him as being struck by lightning, born with the kind of talent the rest of us can only dream of. But what if that's all a myth? Because here's the core idea we're going to unpack today. Mastery isn't some gift you're born with. Not at all. It's a process. It's tough, for sure, but it's a very human process that's accessible to literally anyone who's willing to follow the steps. So to figure this out, Robert Greene went on this amazing deep dive, studying the lives of all these historical masters, and he found a pattern, a clear roadmap to what he calls the ultimate form of human power. And it's not rooted in magic, it's rooted in reality. All right, so here's our game plan. We'll kick things off by defining what mastery even is, then we'll walk through the big stages: finding your calling, surviving what's called the apprenticeship, using mentors and social intelligence to get ahead, and finally, reaching that ultimate transformation. So, first up, let's tackle that central question. What are we actually talking about when we say mastery? It's time to bust that myth of the born genius once and for all. Greene's definition is pretty cool. He says mastery is this feeling of having a greater command of reality itself. It's not about being some quirky artist. It's about seeing the world with this profound clarity, understanding how things really work. And this power comes from a long, immersive process that actually, literally transforms your mind. So where does a journey this huge even begin? Well, it's not about chasing a high-paying job or following the latest trend. According to Greene, the very first step is to look inward. And Greene himself puts it perfectly here. The whole process, the whole journey, is built on a foundation of self-discovery. Before you can master any field, you have to get in touch with that unique force that's already driving you. You've got to learn who you really are. He has this great name for it: your life's task. Think back to when you were a kid. It's that deep, primal curiosity you had, that weird obsession with dinosaurs or taking apart radios or drawing, that thing that felt uniquely you. That's not just a hobby. It's the emotional fuel that's going to get you through the thousands of hours of hard work that are coming. Okay, so once you've reconnected with your life's task, you enter the most important phase of all, a kind of modern-day apprenticeship. This is where you forge your skills from the absolute ground up. Greene breaks this down into 3 modes that kind of flow into each other. You start with deep observation, just soaking it all in, learning the rules. Then you move into intense skills acquisition, where you just practice, practice, practice until it's automatic. And only then can you start the really fun part: experimentation. Now, the goal here isn't just book smarts. It's something called tacit knowledge. Think about old medieval craftsmen. They learned by doing, not by reading a textbook. It's that intuitive feel for your craft that only comes from deep hands-on repetition. It's about building a connection with your work that goes way beyond just thinking about it. And this, of course, brings us to that big number everyone talks about: 10,000 hours. There's a reason this number keeps coming up. It represents the sheer amount of practice you need to hardwire skills into your nervous system, to literally carve new pathways in your brain until these incredibly complex actions become second nature. There really are no shortcuts here. So after all that grinding, all that practice, you get to the experimentation phase. And this is the pivot point. This is where you stop being just a student who follows the rules. You now know them so deeply that you can start to bend them, break them, and play with them. This is where your own personal style is born, and where you start making your mark on the world. Now, running alongside this whole apprenticeship journey are 2 powerful forces that can just dramatically speed up your progress. Think of them less as steps and more like giant wins in your sails. First, find a mentor. A great mentor lets you basically download years of their wisdom, helping you avoid all the stupid mistakes. Second, and this one is huge, social intelligence. This is the skill of understanding people, office politics, and power dynamics in your field. It's so often overlooked. I mean, just look at the cautionary tale of Ignaz Semmelweis. This was the doctor who figured out that hand washing could prevent deadly infections in hospitals. A world-changing idea, right? But he was so arrogant, so dismissive of his colleagues, that they totally rejected his idea and people kept dying. He was a genius, but his lack of social intelligence made all of that genius completely useless.
And this really illustrates the mental shift you have to make. It's easy to be naive and think, hey, my work is great, it should speak for itself. Social intelligence is the realistic understanding that you have to navigate the world of people with all their ego and politics as it is, not as you wish it were.
Okay, so if you stay the course, if you find your life's task, you survive the apprenticeship, and you develop that crucial social intelligence, you finally arrive at the final stage. This is the transformation, where your mind achieves a whole new level of power. After those 10,000 plus hours, something just clicks. All the little pieces of knowledge and skill you've acquired, they fuse together into this seamless whole. You develop this high-level intuition, a fingertip feel for your craft that operates way faster than conscious thought. You don't just see the individual parts anymore, you see the entire system all at once. Greene uses this incredible example of Cesar Rodriguez, an American fighter pilot. He gets ambushed by enemy fighters and on pure instinct performs the series of unbelievably complex maneuvers and saves his own life. The wild part? Afterward, he couldn't even fully remember what he'd done. His years of practice had become this fluid, intuitive intelligence. That is mastery. So look, the path that Greene lays out is clear, but man, it is not easy. It demands that you reject just being passive and commit deeply to the process. The entire journey, from apprentice to master, all of it starts with that first step inward, finding that unique force inside you. So the final question isn't whether you can achieve mastery. The question is, what's your starting point?